Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Sanderlanche podcast. Today, we are talking about Oathbringer, Book 3 of the Stormlight Archive. We read chapters 77 through 81, and are going to talk about those. In these chapters, things start heating up in Kholinar. Kaladin confronts Azure, and then there's an attack on the walls. And meanwhile, Shallan makes her way up onto the Oathgate platform, this place that she's been trying to get a look at since we got here. And things are freaking weird up there. But we'll get into that. I'm Data, and with me today is
Jack
and Joe.
No Jaymee again. She's got things happening, you know. But we are here for this. Hang on to something, everybody. The Sanderlanche is about to begin.
Yearnings intertwined, the golden age in ashes once again. Under stirring stars, in the burning shards, kindle fragments of the falling rain. So look to the break of dawn, to the break of dawn. Stronger together.
So yeah, 5 chapters this time. What did you guys think of these 5 chapters?
Definitely like information in these. I have not the faintest idea of what to make of the Revel. So it's like there's 2 unmade up there apparently. If I read that right?
That it seems to be what was indicated, yeah.
Yep, cool. We barely know anything about one of them, so let's throw a second into the mix, sure. But, you know, freaky deaky stuff going on up there, so that was, even though I don't really know if I understood a lot of it, it was very interesting to watch. Azure was kind of cool. It was very cool to see what Azure's going on. Kaladin's come clean and seems like Azure's on board. How they're feeding the city. It's like, oh, Hoyd just showed up one day and gave us some aluminium plates that we, lined the room, the tinfoil room, as it were, and people just soulcast in there. Like, oh, I feel like we should have guessed aluminium was involved in like protection from something somehow, but we just forget about these things. And then all of Shallan's contacts are being hunted down and murdered, which is fucked. Like poor little Grund. That was that was pretty harsh. Yeah, I don't really have too much to say. I'm just kind of all right. Things are happening. Now I just need to see where they progress to.
I do love that the big mystery of where's the food's coming from. It's like, oh, Hoyd did a thing.
Yep.
We do know he's around, so it makes sense, I guess.
Yeah, and just the fact that Azure goes, oh yeah, this guy showed up, and Calvin's like, was it this guy? And Azure's like, oh yeah, you know him? Yes.
Everybody knows him, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, these chapters, like Dak said, I actually found the most interesting information from, what are we calling them? Epigraphs?
Yeah.
Prographs? I don't know. Whatever they're called. We got like these little tidbits and these names and things, and I'm just like, oh man, that's good information. Finally, some good information as opposed to the useless information we were getting before. So this is definitely more along the lines of what I would wanted to hear, not stuff like, what, we got to record something? Just put this in. I don't care. This is actually useful information, possibly, potentially. The Shallan stuff, we've hit on it so much, so I'm not going to over harp on it. But just like the identity crisis stuff going on, was interesting to me that this first chapter, like, was Kaladin and then Shallan and then Kaladin and then Shallan. Kind of went back and forth a little bit, and then yeah, the Revel, it kind of lived up to my expectations, right? I was thinking like this weird hedonistic, ritualistic thing, and that's kind of what it was.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah,
we get the reveal of Lightweavers can have squires, and Vata has become a squire, so that's pretty interesting. That is the case. It's not just maybe bondsmiths can't have squires, but who knows? Maybe they can. But yeah, so a little bit of interest there with Vata becoming a squire. It's pretty cool. And then Shallan goes to the Revel. She throws herself off. She does her plans, and then we just get this really depressing chapter of like, oh yeah, Shallan thought she was doing this really great thing by feeding these poor people. It turns out pretty much the entire time they were just being extorted for the extra food she was giving them.
Yep.
And then beaten and friends murdered and stuff like that. It's pretty pretty depressing. Cool battle scene with Kaladin, and then we get kind of a little bit of I think Kaladin kind of did himself a disservice here, right? Because Azure got all the information. Kaladin doesn't really have that much information on Azure still, at least not yet. Like she was like, yeah, I'll tell you. Wait, who are you? Prove to me that you're who you say you are. Okay, yeah, I'll show you this one thing, but it has nothing to do with me. It's just that this guy helped me do this. And he's like, oh, okay, yeah, it's this guy. So she's still a pretty big mystery. I do love the fact that she's like, oh, it's not a secret that to me that I'm a woman. It just makes them feel better.
Yeah,
that to me was pretty funny.
That was amusing, yes.
Yeah, but we still don't really know what the deal is with her blade or anything like that. So I have a theory based on something that's been mentioned a couple of times, which we'll get into. But yeah, I just not sure that Kaladin really got any good information. So anyway, but enjoyed these. It feels like things are starting to happen. There's an impending battle, possibly. We know a little bit more about some Unmade, and so I'm excited to get more information for sure.
Yeah, it's interesting that because it was fairly recently that you guys started predicting or theorizing that maybe we would see some other Radiant Orders with Squires. Maybe it was Jaymee who was like, "What if some of Shallan's guys like start showing these powers?" And then a couple weeks later, here they are. So that is kind of cool.
At least it was Vatha and not Gaz or or Shob.
It'd be funny to me if Gaz was just like, "Can you just draw a picture of me with 2 eyes, and then I'll just do that."
But also, I will agree with you that it is a very cool fight scene. Even it's kind of a smaller scale fight scene than a lot of the ones we get. It's not like a big war or anything. It's just like Kaladin and one guy.
Yeah,
but it's pretty cool.
I think sometimes, at least for me as a reader, other people, they like their own things. I kind of like these skirmish encounters where we're more focused on one individual fighting one or two other individuals. It makes, for me at least, a better picture in my head. I feel like if it's a huge battle scene, I can get kind of lost on the page of like, okay, so what's happening exactly? So to kind of get a little bit of vague background stuff of like he sees people falling or dying around him and then kind of focusing in on one character fighting one or two other individuals, it kind of is a little easier for me to digest and understand. So I enjoy descriptions like that as a kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? As a kind of the opposite, basically. Not exactly the opposite. I'm reading through a Halo book contrast. I'm reading through a Halo book because it really peeved me off that the story between Halo 5 and Halo Infinite is not like in game. You have to read books to actually get filled in on the information. And so I was like, finally, like, you know what? I really do want to know what happens. So I'm just there's 2 books that say Bridge the Gap. So I started reading one. And it's like the Nathan Fillion character in this first one, Buck. And it's not a bad read, but some of the battle scenes are really hard for me to follow. I'm like, okay, what's happening now? So it is kind of nice to read this and kind of understand, okay, this is what's happening. And then he killed this thing by dragging this up. I feel like Brandon does a pretty good job of describing like what's going on in a way that's understandable, especially now that we know the lashing terminology and all that stuff.
Yeah. I think that's been a fairly constant thing throughout these books. The one-on-one fights that Brandon has written have always been a bit more memorable to us than the massive battles. Think of Kelsier versus the Inquisitor in OG Mistborn.
Yeah.
Or Seth versus Kaladin, or Seth versus Gavilar. Yeah. Those fights, like they stick out in my head a lot more than like the big battle scenes. Really. Right.
Yeah. Even though really important stuff happens during the big battle scenes, like the one on the Shattered Plains when the red lightning comes and all that stuff, it's harder for me to remember the details of that stuff.
Yeah.
Another one that comes to mind that's hard for me to remember is, in Mistborn Era 2, when they're fighting like all the dudes at the mountain where the statue is, like I get really confused about what was going on in that battle.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say, like, going back, OG Mistborn had the siege of Luthadel at the end of Well of Ascension, and then Elantris had the newly reawakened Elantrians like using their magic. It's like there are cool moments from those battles that I remember, but like the battles as a whole, like they're summed up by those moments, or they're just like, and then people fucking died everywhere.
Right.
I mean, the headbutt of doom stands out from. It's not like a big battle, but it's kind of a good number of people involved. But
Yeah, that was like a close count. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was less of a massive battle. There was maybe a couple dozen people in that room at most.
Yeah,
So,
I always think of that as like a close quarters, just like fight.
Yeah.
Fair. Oh, well, let's get into these chapters, y'all. It starts with the epigraph. Something must be done about the remnants of Odium's forces, the Parsh, as they are now called. Continued their war with zeal, even without their masters from damnation. So we know this is about the time that when they make these gems, this is about the time they're abandoning the tower. And so apparently even at this point, which is well after the final, where the heralds left, quote, Aharietium, the final desolation, apparently there's still some conflict with the Parsh happening.
Something that occurred to me during the week was, okay, so Damnation, the souls of the fused, that's where they go, yeah? And that's where the heralds went every time they died.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know why this never occurred to me before, but like, how does this fit into the whole cognitive realm, spiritual realm, and physical realm sort of thing? Is this just like, do they all just go to this one really fucked up corner of the cognitive realm, and that's where the Damnation is, where all this shit goes on? Is that where the Tranquiline Halls are?
Interesting. Okay, hold on. I wanna check something. See how much we know, and gotta make sure I'm not revealing things.
He doesn't
want to
give us information that we don't know. Yeah.
I honestly, I was fully prepared for just like the usual. That is an excellent question that he does.
It's an excellent question. Moving on.
Yeah, I'm really coming to hate it when he does that.
Well, he's got to be careful.
I know. It's like, but I want answers now.
I want it now.
Okay, no, we know. All right. So in the last book that in Words of Radiance, there is a section. Let me see here. Okay, this is just after. I believe this is just after. You remember when there was a high storm? Yeah, that was last book. There's a high storm. They're guarding Kaladin. They're guarding the king. Kaladin walks out and kind of looks around outside.
Oh, and he saw like the people in the sky or something? No, that was in the chasms.
No, I think this may be just before, like after the storm. Elokar walks out on that same balcony and like almost falls to his death.
Oh, was that 2 books ago?
Or no, that was Words of Radiance. So
that was like early Words of Radiance because that was when the balcony was cut.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
In this section, it says, "Darkness, wind from the depths of nothingness battering him. He felt as if he were standing above the void itself. Damnation, known as Braze in the old songs."
Oh, that's right, and that's the other planet. Because at one point I was like, oh, that must be where the Voidbringers came from, because that's the void, and they bring the void.
Third planet in the system, or the third habitable planet, is Braze, also known as Damnation.
Okay.
Wait, so Damnation's a planet? That's weird.
I've forgotten about that. Yeah.
Makes me think of Final Fantasy VIII, where like all the monsters come from the moon.
Yeah, that's right.
So all right, so that's they're not so Damnation, where they all go when they die. It's like something about their powers sends them to this other planet, and they just fight each other there. And then when they give in, they get transported back to Roshar. Sure, that makes sense. Why not?
Yeah, how much of that happens like in the cognitive versus physical versus whatever realm? We have no idea at this point.
Right.
But it is, we know that the location is on that other planet.
Yep. Okay.
Weird. It's like, let's make a portal to Damnation. Why?
That's like, that doesn't sound like a fun place to go at all.
No.
Maybe that's Odium's deal. He set up the perpendicularity. It's like, this will be so much fucking fun.
Space travel. They just have like a rocket. They finally like learn space travel, and they're like, "Oh, you don't want to go to Brace. That place is crazy."
And we know Odium's got to have a perpendicularity somewhere, so it might be there.
Yeah.
Okay, so the chapter starts with Kaladin rushing to make it. There's the Everstorm is coming, and he's trying to get into one of these public storm shelters before the guy shuts the door. And he wouldn't have gotten in except for the fact that Syl, it looks like, probably stuck the hinges for a second, so the guy couldn't close the door. Useful friend to have, Syl.
I just hate it when you get a spren stuck in your door.
Just it's a pain. What can I say?
If you want to get his friend stuck anywhere, it's your door.
And he is, in fact, meeting up with Shallan and Adolin here so they can have a talk. And he's updating them a little bit on, what he's found out. He's let them know he lets them know the Wall Guard may have a soul caster. That sounds like what they may be doing, but how they're making that work, who knows? He can't read Azure, but he now thinks maybe her blade is an honor blade.
I mean, it kind of tracks. Like, we haven't really seen any other, aside from Nightblood, we haven't seen any other super duper swords. So what else could it be?
Yeah.
Super duper sword.
Yeah. We haven't seen her use any powers, but we haven't seen her she's been there during the fights. We haven't seen her fighting. So yeah, we don't know. But he's going to talk to her tonight because she's going to have dinner with her platoon. So there you go. And while they start talking about Kaladin's sword, his side sword, Adolin, he likes swords. What are you going to do? He wants to see Kaladin's. Shallan is like, well, I have much more interesting information. I tracked down a copy of Hessi's Mythica.
Shallan, it is not nice to shoot down your partner's hobbies.
So the book talks about the Unmade, which, hey, that is a useful thing to have right now. And so the book says there's 9. That matches what Dalinar saw because he saw a guy with 9 shadows. And the Stormfather was like, oh, those are the Unmade. So it makes sense for them to be 9, although sometimes people say there's 10. Who knows why?
Because this planet is all about the 10s.
And this is where Shallan is like, I think we may actually have 2 Unmade in the city. Because Wit has told her about the Heart of Revel, or Ashert Marn, as she names it here, that leads people to indulge in excess. Which I think she points out, maybe that one was here or even earlier, and that's why the Queen was acting all, excessive.
It would make sense.
Started.
Yeah, that tracks. So the hedonism bot Spren.
But also, she thinks Shah Anat might be here. And actually, I didn't talk about it, but before this chapter started, there was a picture from this book that says The Taker of Secrets and has Shah Anat, creator and corruptor.
Yeah, I saw that. Wasn't sure what we were talking about, but this gives more context.
You haven't read anything about that until this point in the chapter.
Right.
She seeks the children of honor and cultivation, and with one touch, she corrupts. So, okay. That's not freaky or anything.
And that's how we get Angry Sill.
And so Shallan thinks, we've been seeing all these freaky Spren. That sounds like her deal.
Well, yeah, the picture's got the creepy hands that Shallan had been drawing earlier in the book. So I'm like, all right, well, that's her deal then.
And they don't love the idea of fighting 2. Kaladin's like, I mean, are you sure? And she goes, well, Wit already confirmed that second one. So, and we've seen the Spren that are all corrupted. So, I mean, it seems likely. And she's like, okay. They're like, okay, well, what does the book tell us about fighting them? It's a book about them. There'll be some useful information, right? And she's like, the book says if you see weird Spren, move to a different town.
Oh, man. It's basically like abandon your town.
Yep.
Go somewhere else.
Yeah, run. Fucking run.
So that's encouraging. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, potentially we're talking about beings that even the former Radiants didn't exactly know how to handle.
Yep.
So, and they kind of understood their powers. So now we're in this whole other realm of people who are stumbling around, don't understand their powers, don't have a lot of people around them to explain their powers because they have experience with them, and they're trying to figure out how do we dispose of or neutralize these ancient evil beings? It's a little terrifying, to be honest.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, Shallan scared one away so far, so that's helpful. And in fact, let's take a brief poll, or not poll, let's look back. How many of the Unmade do we know about? This tells us we think there's 9 of them, and we kind of already knew that. The Stormfather said the 9 shadows were the Unmade. So how many? We know of 2 that are supposedly here: Shah Anat and Ashert Marn, the Heart of Revel. And Shallan scared off
Rashafir.
Rashafir, the Midnight Mother.
The one in the deep bowels of Urthiru.
What other ones do we know about that are still hanging around?
Well, Taravangi was tracking Moloch, something like that.
Yeah, Moloch or whatever. Yeah,
and that was the one that caused the thrill.
The death rattles, I think, was that one,
The
wasn't it?
death rattles. Okay, because he
Men talk.
Yeah, I was like, there was the other one he was tracking that caused the thrill.
Yes, the other one that causes the thrill. Let me
We
double
don't
check the
know the
names,
name
but
of
I think
that one?
that's right.
I don't
Hold on, let me
remember
see
it.
here. Moloch. Yes, Moloch is the one that causes the thrill. Oh no, not that causes the thrill. I'm sorry, I said it right the first time. That causes the death rattles, and maybe we did. We have heard this name. I think Nergaul is
That
the one.
sounds like Nazgul.
Yeah, that's the one that it says causes the thrill.
Mm.
So that's 5 of the 9 that we know like a name or so of, and we know they're around here somewhere.
Yeah. And my question then becomes, which I know we don't know the answer, but I'd just like to propose the question anyway. Are all the unmade in the Alethi realm, or are they not like the spread out across the planet? Like, do the Shin people have to deal with some of the unmade? Like, what? Why are they so focused in this Alethi like area?
Well, from everything we've heard, the Shin seem far removed from everything else. They're the only place that has like grass and parrots and birds that aren't chickens and other animals.
Yeah.
They don't have to deal with the storms.
Yeah, that's a really good question. I don't understand the correlation between how much trouble is going on with the Alethi realm. But I mean, Yakaved has to deal with the storms. I don't know. It's very confusing.
We know that the one that caused the thrill was in Yakaved during the Civil War, because when Taravangian gets there afterwards, they're like, oh, like Nergul was here. That's why they killed each other so hard that so many of them are dead.
So, because that's true. I mean, we have just due to the fact of having the flashbacks and other things talking about the thrill, the shattered plains, it feels like maybe the thrill is something that can be experienced almost anywhere, but maybe if he's close in proximity, it's a much stronger pull.
Maybe.
I don't know. I'm trying to figure out. I mean, I know we're kind of stumbling around in the dark here, but like I'm trying to figure out what is the range of these unmade to the extent of their powers. I feel like the Night Mother seemed like you had to be in pretty close proximity. Of course, she was up on Urithiru, way removed from the planet, so like maybe that's why her reach isn't as far because she's so far removed. But I don't know. It's confusing to me.
Yeah, that's a fair question, actually. I mean, her little black goo things could go all over the tower. We know that much, but I mean, that's not like super far from where she was.
Right. And like I said, it may be due to the fact that the tower is so much higher than the rest of the area. But I don't know.
And so Shallan's going to go up onto the platform tonight. Kaladin and Adolin both have some issues with her going all alone or with very little support, but it is what it's got to be. We find out the wall guard is about 5,000 men, which is like barely enough to be guarding the wall, essentially. So there's a good reason why they're not like going through the city keeping order and stuff, because they have enough people to stand up on the walls, more or less. So we need, if we're going to take the city back, we need more than what we have. So we got to get that Oath Gate to work. We cut to after the storm. They all head off to do their stuff. Well, I guess Kaladin heads off. Shallan and Adolin take a little walk together, and he wants to see her sketchbook, and there's some cute, like, coupley moments where they're kind of flirty, and he looks at her sketches, and it's like, oh, you're so amazing. And then there's a moment where he sees a sketch of him, and he's like, oh, this is awesome. A picture of him in one of his new suits, and she's like, oh, I forgot that was there. And then she takes the sketchbook back, and she's like, I mean, it doesn't matter if he sees that sketch of Kaladin on the next page, but this is a good place to end this look on one of himself.
Sure, Shallan, sure.
This is... I didn't need this wrinkle.
Yeah, look, I mean, I get it, right? He's trying to say, I feel like Brandon's trying to say, like, hey, remember, these people are in a relationship. And also there's this other like third thing that is intruding upon that relationship, but the third thing seems to be Shallan's like personalities. So like I get it, but I feel like we've been hit over the head with it a lot recently.
Yeah.
And it's got to be building to something in this book, I would think.
I would hope so. Yeah. And this is another thing I think of. It's like, you guys are in a city under siege by like beings from the depths of hell. Like, are we really having time for your relationship drama?
I mean, yeah. At the same time, I feel like Vin and Ellen's relationship at the end of the world was much clearer. It's like we're in love, we're married.
Deal with it.
Yeah.
True.
Okay.
Yeah.
No more. Of course, they did get rid of their the wrinkle in the relationship in the second book.
Well, to be fair, Ellen didn't know that guy was there.
Yeah. Did she ever talk? I don't think she ever told him about him, did she?
She mentions that she killed his brother, and he's like, "Wait, my who?"
Yeah, that's right.
It's like, I have
Oh
a
my
brother. You
gosh.
had a brother.
Past tense. I also killed your other brother with a headbutt, so it's a whole thing.
Oh, that was a whole family reunion. It ended like
we
most
were
family reunions.
You were there for that one.
It's actually funny you mentioned that, because just today on like the Cosmere Facebook group, I was reading somebody made a post that's like with a picture of Brandon. That's like, this guy wrote 6 different love triangles that involve 2 siblings, and I was like, wait, what?
Really?
And the guy's like, yeah, can you name them? And he says one of them, like, calling it a love triangle would be a bit of a stretch, and in another one, calling them siblings would be a bit of a stretch, but there are 6. And so I had to sit here and I'm like, okay, wait, I want to figure this out. So we named one. We got Ellen and Zane and Vin. So that's definitely one of them, right?
Yep.
Okay.
What other ones can you think of that we've read with love triangles involving siblings? Because I came up with 5. I couldn't find the one that was like calling them siblings would be a stretch. I'm not sure what that was a reference to, but the other 5.
Maybe Wax and Wayne and Marasai.
Well,
I don't know.
No, like Steris and Marasai, because it wasn't like they sold Marasai as the
Oh,
cousin.
yeah.
She turned out to be the illegitimate
that's
half
true.
sibling.
Yep.
Yeah. So Wax, Marasai, and Steris. Yeah.
Yep, that's number 2.
I don't know. Would Ciri and Vivenna and Susebron count? Because that was kind of an arranged thing.
That was the one that I was
Yeah.
like, calling it a
Love
triangle would be a bit of a
stretch.
stretch. That's what I think
Yeah.
that one was. Yeah.
Yeah, because
okay.
Susebron never met Vivenna, so
No. So that
until
was-
the end. Did they meet at the end? I guess
I think they did.
They meet briefly at the end. Yeah.
they're like, "Hey, everything's good now."
Cool. I
Okay,
could
so
talk again.
That's 3 of the 5 that I came up with. There's two more.
And we
I
would
mean-
know about them already.
Oh yeah.
For
sure.
I mean, we made jokes during Elantris that it was like Raoden and Serene and Raoden's alter zombie ego.
I thought about
thing.
that. I'm like, is that the one where like siblings is a stretch? Maybe. It seems weird to me, but
Yeah,
I mean-
that seems weird.
Yeah, I mean, I refuse to accept that Hrathen was part of that love triangle, because that was just
Oh god.
that was the worst fucking twist at the end of that. I was like, what did that add?
Yeah, he's like, "Hey, I find this lady attractive too." It's like, "Oh, okay, cool."
And then 5 minutes later, he dead. I'm like, oh,
yep.
cool. So glad we got that information.
Yeah. Phew. Let's do the books. Okay, we got what's the first? The first is Mistborn Era 1. Is there a love
Mhm.
triangle in Mistborn Era 1
Oh, we
besides
did
Vin,
Vin,
Ellen, and
and
Zane?
Zane. Okay, one of them is from Mistborn Era 1.
Okay, so it's got to be Kelsier, Mare, and his brother
Oh, and Marsh, yeah.
Marsh.
That was kind
That's
of
right.
it happened before the books were even written, but it does get talked about. So yeah.
Yeah, we get sprinkles of that throughout the
Yeah,
throughout
the after effects were still felt.
Yeah. So we've got 2 in Mistborn Era 1. I don't think there's a third that I can think of. Yeah, Captain Damu, unnamed brother, and unnamed woman, I guess. No. Mistborn Era 2, we did Wax, Steris, and Marasai.
There's not that much room for more romance than that in Mistborn Era 2, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Elantris. No, nothing in Elantris that I can think of. We talked about Warbreaker.
Mm-hmm.
I'm having trouble remembering what other books we've read.
I mean, like, it's just Stormlight, Mistborn, Elantris, and Warbreaker. They're like the ones we have read. There were 2.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess there could be some of the secret projects, but I doubt Data would be pushing us for it if they
No,
were.
no. The
'cause-
last one is one
Yeah.
you definitely know.
Oh, we definitely know. Man, that makes me feel dumb.
Jesus.
I'll narrow it down a little bit. It's Stormlight.
Oh, wait. No, I know exactly what he's talking about. It's Gavilar, Dalinar, and
Oh, Doi,
Yep.
Navani, yeah.
and Navani. We've wrapped that up. We've wrapped that one up so nicely because now they're together.
Well, and the other one's dead. Yeah.
Yeah, we're just not thinking about it.
Wait, I got another one. Shallan, Cabsol, and the Jam.
Yeah. Brother
Are Shallan
Jam.
and the Jam like siblings or?
No. Cabsol in the Jam, clearly.
Oh, okay.
Is that an incestuous thing then? Because Cabsol and the Jam ended up together.
Yeah,
that's
dude.
true.
You know how it be.
Like we know that Vasher, like his wife, was Denth's sister, but I don't think that there was a love triangle there.
No.
See, you say that we know that. I had forgotten.
Vasher's like, man, that Denth guy.
I mean, yeah, maybe Denth was in love with Vasher secretly, and that's why he's so angry in the books. You know?
Yeah, maybe so. He's like, you were
Yeah.
supposed to be mine, and then you took my sister. It was weird.
Okay, sorry for that sidetrack, y'all. We'll get back to. If anyone can think of that last one, I'm having trouble with it. I've considered some like non-Cosmere stuff that we haven't read yet, but I couldn't think of it even there.
It's like, I couldn't even think of any from the short stories and anything.
Yeah, not you don't have to spoil this data, but you can't think of anything from like Tress or
No,
any of that other stuff.
I don't think there were any sibling-involved love triangles that I can remember anyway. Spoiler: I don't think Tress has a sibling. So,
Is that really a spoiler?
well, technically, I suppose, but
Yeah, I wanted to know. I wanted to wait to find out if she had siblings.
not big enough that I was, not gonna say it if I felt like it. So,
Yeah.
Anyway.
Moving on.
They Adolin and Shallan have a discussion about like whether she has an unfair advantage in her artistic skill, and he's like, "Well, I have all sorts of advantages in like my swordsman skill, and I don't consider it unfair. I mean, technically, it is unfair, but we each have like our own advantages and disadvantages. So you just gotta, work with what you have."
I feel like I read something online recently about people saying you're using your natural gifts is cheating, and someone's gone, okay, so you're not allowed to be a tall basketball player anymore because that's a natural gift,
Right?
Yeah,
I read a Facebook post just like that actually.
I don't understand why anybody would say that. It's like, I feel like not using your natural gifts is doing discredit to yourself.
I think it was like, might have been like a Reddit post I saw somewhere that just popped up in my feed. Some guy had like a hot wings contest, but this guy.
And he like doesn't feel spice at all. I read that same one. Yes.
Yeah, and his friend was also competing and accused him of cheating. I'm like, how?
No, I think it's like afterwards he'd won and he was with his friends and they were like, well, I mean, you basically cheated to win that.
Yeah,
it's
but
like,
the friend was someone who had competed in it.
Oh, was it? Okay, I didn't get that part then. But so anyway, yeah, and a bunch of people responded. It's like, I mean, this is your natural skill. Like, why should you not be able to use that to do the one thing that it can help you do?
Yeah.
Yeah, if I couldn't feel spice and there was a prize for being able to eat something spicy, why would I not do it?
Yeah.
Okay, anyway, sorry. They split apart and she goes out and changes into Vale. Oh, and she meets up with Vatha to discuss what the plan is. They actually meet up at that inn where Hoyd was staying. I don't know why she's decided that she really likes this place, but she does.
Yeah. I thought there was something more sinister going on in a minute when the barkeep comes in. And maybe there is, and Shallan just kind of brushed it off. But it was like, he's like, drinks! And she's like, I told you not to interrupt us, but I have drinks! We don't want drinks. And it's like, okay. Was this guy trying to get information, or what was his deal?
Yeah, it's like she thinks he's suspicious. He thinks we're up to something with wit, and he's trying to find out. But it is kind of random how he just busts in the door like, I have drinks!
It's
okay.
Like, cool.
Yeah.
Nobody asked, but all right. And when he busts in and shocks them, Vatha instinctively, apparently, changes his appearance to match one of the drawings they've been looking at. And Shallan really takes this in stride, because she just looks at him and she goes, you forgot the back of the head. It's really easy to miss because it's not part of the drawing. And he's like, what are you talking about? And she makes him look in the mirror and he's like, why'd you put this face on me? I didn't.
Why'd you do this to me? I didn't. You did it to you. What?
Surprise, Vatha, you are a magic man.
Yeah.
And she has to explain to him, like, probably you're developing like powers as my squire. We know the Windrunners have squires. I guess other groups can have them too. So, and he's like, brightness, Vale. You really think that I And it's she thinks he seems like he's going to start crying.
Yeah, if his eyes start to lighten up, I wonder what he's going to do then.
I wonder if that happens if you don't have a sword. Kaladin has to keep summoning his sword to make it happen.
Yeah,
I wonder if the
none of his squires' eyes have lightened.
I don't remember if it said or not.
Questions for later.
Yeah. And she's like, "Okay, we gotta focus on what's in front of us because this is kind of important and soon." He's like, "Right, I can do this. Let's go steal from some rich people and give to some crazy people." And that's the end of that first chapter.
Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba.
So then we get the Revel, and this is another emerald. A coalition has been formed among Scholar Radiants. Our goal is to deny the enemy their supply of void light. This will prevent their continuing transformations and give us an edge.
So what is void light? So see, this is it. This is information, but I don't understand it.
So I just assumed when a regular high storm comes through, that brings stormlight. So when the Everstorm comes through, that brings void light.
Okay, that would make sense because the Everstorms don't recharge the gems, do they?
No, I think it is established that they do not.
Yeah, so maybe there's void gems that are, but then how do you make void gems?
Well,
are they only inside of them?
Yeah, maybe that's just their gem hearts.
Yeah. Okay. So the Parsh, as they're being called in these epigraph things, maybe they have gem hearts, so they are more related to the things with the gem hearts than we think, but they're different type. I don't know, man. It's confusing.
Maybe when Odium brought the Voidbringers from Braze, from Damnation.
Yeah.
He left the portal open and some of the local wildlife came through, and that's how we got great shells on Roshar.
Yeah. But the great shells have different gems, I guess?
Yeah, true.
Yeah, these two were both emeralds, and emerald is the Truth Watcher stone, so these are like Truth Watchers like Renarin leaving these messages.
Yeah. Hey, wait, we skipped over something earlier that I wanted to ask about. When they're in the bar and Kaladin's like, man, they could at least keep this place clean from the Kremlings. Is that one of those things?
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
I also forgot about that, but yes, I believe that is one of the confirmed sightings that we've been told, like, yes, this is one of those.
Yeah, I feel like it wouldn't have been pointed out otherwise, but...
Yeah.
He even talks about, like, it's really weirdly shaped, so, yeah. I think,
it had a weird pattern on its back.
And it may be here spying specifically on them, for all we know.
Probably.
But, yeah.
Interesting that, like, it's there, and I don't know, I don't know how much knowledge or wisdom to attribute to the Spren, but neither Syl nor Patton pick up on this thing.
Yeah, that is a good point. And they're all from that weird island, possibly.
We don't know if Syl and Pattern have ever, like, even know what one of these things are. So, yeah, I mean, that might not be easy to spot.
Yeah.
But they got lots of gem hearts there, apparently, though.
Yeah.
It's true. We saw that, like, the whole beach just covered in them. Okay, so Vale is in the wagon with the food. They stole it. We didn't see that part this time, but they show up at the Revel, and they're like, okay, turn over that food. And I like Vale's like, okay, say you can take all of them except for those 2 bags over there. I need those to visit the poor. And the cultist is like, hey, you wanted to come to our meeting. You don't get to dictate. And they ask her, like, who are you? What is it that you want? And she says that, hold on, pause. Babylon 5 fans asking both of the big questions here.
Wait, what? What are we talking about?
It's a Babylon 5 thing. I just had to. Anyway.
I don't know anything about Babylon 5. I feel excluded.
You should watch it. It's good. Her answer is, I just keep hearing this voice saying that it's in the end, and it is the end, and I should embrace the time of the Spren. And then she sees them, like, look at each other and nod. She's just passed, like, the test to get in. And so they tell her, okay, you can climb the steps to enlightenment. Your guide will meet you at the top. And we cut to Kaladin first before we see what happens to her. And he is in the barracks, and Azure has shown up and does, like, an inspection to give her an excuse to be like, oh, this is the finest platoon of men I've ever led. And everyone's happy. And he's like, yeah, this is, in a situation like this, these inspections aren't to find problems. They're to, like, give people an excuse for raising morale, basically.
He sort of mentions here, because, like, we've wondered, it's like, oh, is she a ghost blood or is she a world hopper or something? And then Kaladin points out, oh, she's very Alethi with the skin tone and hair. I'm like, okay, maybe she's not a world hopper, but maybe she's an Alethi who went off world and came back with something. I don't know.
Could be.
I don't know what to make of her. He called out the skin tone. I thought terrace woman, maybe? Just random possibility. But
we know that Wit also appears to be Alethi in skin tone and hair color.
I feel like Wit can fudge around with it a bit.
He may have special different
abilities. Wit's on another level to everyone else.
Fair.
But I don't know what to make of this girl.
I was trying to think, what other world hoppers do we know that are... I wonder if Vasher, if Zahel, is he described as looking different from like other Alethi? I don't recall. We'd have to go back and look at that.
I don't remember. But
then again, we know that we were told in Warbreaker that Vasher can change how he looks.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yes. Yeah.
So if I were him, I probably would try to look like the other Alethi. So
yeah.
But that was part of his being returned, was that he could change stuff. Kaladin is sitting pretty far down the table from Azure, so he doesn't get a chance to ask her many questions until somebody stands up to go to the bathroom, and he's like, all right, here I go. And he gets up and takes that person's seat. And that's where we cut back away from him. Like, we're kind of cutting rapidly in this chapter, which is usually saved for closer to the end. But
so shit's heating up.
Yep. And so Vale makes it up onto the platform, and she meets a guy in Ardent's robes, although they're ripped and stained from like food being spilled and things. And this guy is going to be her guide, because the first time at the Revel can be disorienting. And everybody gets a new name when they come. He's like, all right, your name is... And he's like patting his pockets, like, where'd I put that name? Yeah, whatever. Your name is Kishi. There you go. And he also has a new name. He's like, oh yeah, they call me something. But so we don't know his actual name. Karat, I believe, is what it says, is his new name. I suspect that this may be the same guy that we saw in a previous book where that Lady Ardent had just come to work for the Queen, and the guy taking her around is like, just relax, enjoy like the lavishness of being one of the Queen's Ardents. It's really awesome.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I was gonna ask, is this that guy? So
he has that feel to me. I don't know that it's that. We definitely don't find out for sure in this chapter. I don't know. I don't recall if we ever do, honestly. So
it feels like one of those things where it may never actually get confirmed or not. So it's like, if you want to believe that it is, then that's a neat little tidbit, and if you want to believe that it's not, then there's nothing contradicting that. So no fuss, no muss.
I was about to say, now I gotta go and check because now I want to know. It doesn't say where the information comes from, but it does indicate here that this is the same guy. So I don't know if that's like a question somebody's asked Brandon or what the deal is, but this indicates that this is the same dude in the wiki.
Yeah. It's like one of those. Ultimately, like the detail doesn't really matter to the story that much, so you all can believe it if you want.
Makes sense. Anyway, I love. Actually, he says Karat is what they named me. I think. I forget. Like it doesn't really matter. So he takes her around. There's people, lots of people around. There's big tables full of food, candied meat, stacks of bread and sugar and fruit and pastry. And people are just laughing and shouting and scooping big clumps of food with their bare hands to eat.
Did you just scoop that out like a bear?
And she sees like Ardents with the worn out clothes. Everybody's clothes seem kind of worn out. Ardents, there's rich people, there's some soldiers that she can tell from the remnants of their uniforms. So it's kind of a mix of people up here. And he tells her she has to stay in the outer ring. No going inward for us. Nope. Be happy. You get to enjoy the end of the world in style. And she can hear that voice. Let go. Give up your pain. Embrace the end. But Pattern is on her coat and hums, and it's kind of helping her keep her head. Which, that's good. He says, everyone wants to go inward their first time. You're not allowed. Just enjoy this. And then there's a building off to the side where people are going to, as he puts it, find a partner. He's like, oh yeah, you want to go in there and do that? That's allowed, sure. Assuming you can find anyone still sober enough to care. And she needs to find a way to get away from this guy if she's going to find the information she came here for. Because the control for the platform is in the middle. She's got to get to the middle. And so she tells him she wants to rest for a moment. She's feeling overwhelmed. And so he's like, okay, fine. I'll just sit here and watch you. And she comes up with an idea. She has Pattern distract him for a minute by basically going over and whispering at the guy, like pretend to be that voice who I assume is in everybody's head here. and tell him to it's like, yeah, go get a drink, enjoy yourself. And he does. He leaves briefly to get a drink. And when he comes back, she has left an illusion of herself behind and has put on a new illusion of Kishi, which she says means mystery. And that's the face that she's going to use to get towards the middle. We cut back to Kaladin, who's having dinner with his crew and is now right next to the High Marshal. And she's like, oh yeah, you're the light-eyed guy with slave brands. You never told me about that. And he's like, nope, I sure didn't. So why are you so casual with your shard blade? I've never seen someone just hanging on a peg when you come in. That's crazy. And she says, well, I trust the men in this room. So, and he wants to know, how did you end up here? And she wants to know, how did you end up here? You were branded in Sadius's territory. That's really far north from here. There's several Voidbringer armies between here and there. And he goes, I flew. How about you? And apparently she has several scars as well, because he's like, your scars spell out danger just as explicitly as mine do. They're memorable. How did no one ever know anything about you before you suddenly stepped up and took leadership of the guard? And everyone around the table, the lieutenants and the captain, they're just staring at Kaladin, what are you doing, man? And she's like, I think maybe you should just be thankful that someone was here to save the city when it needed it. And he's like, oh, I am. But eventually you're going to have to come clean. These men deserve to know who is leading them. And she's like, and don't they deserve to know your past too? Maybe you should come clean. And it's like, should you come clean? And he goes, perhaps. And she says, I'm your commanding officer, you realize. You should answer me when I ask questions. And he goes, I've given answers. If they aren't the ones you want, then perhaps your questions aren't very good. And Noro gasped audibly. Kaladin has never been real good about being in his place, as it were. So
it's like he's found a place where he is welcomed, he is accepted, and everything else. So he's just like, yeah, there's someone in authority, and fuck that.
That feels pretty Kaladin. All right, can't have that. And she goes, you know what? You want to answer so bad? Maybe you should just try asking. And he thinks, she's right. Why am I dancing around it? Why won't you let anyone talk about the fact that you're a woman? Noro, don't faint. You'll embarrass us all. And she's just like, oh, they came up with this game on their own. They're a Lethi, so they need an excuse for listening to a woman. And then she asks him, tell me honestly, did you come here chasing me? And he thinks, what? But no time to answer that. The drums are sounding and there's an attack on the walls. And even though Kaladin promised he wouldn't do it again, he is the one who jumps up. He's like, to arms! There's an attack. Noro is not in charge here anymore.
Yeah. To be fair, even after the battle, nobody seems to have a problem with it. They're just like, yep.
I think these are the people who Azure showed up and took charge, and they were just like, a woman's in charge? Well, she's getting the job done. Let's go with it. I feel like they feel the same way about Kaladin. All right, this guy's doing a good job. We'll just go with it.
And we don't even have to pretend that he's a man, because he is a man.
Yeah. Right? Okay, so we cut back to Kishi now, who is moving into the center. She sees some noblemen here who she thinks she recognizes from the description of the ones who disappeared into the palace. So I guess they didn't all end up dead in that room. But here, it's even weirder. There's men and women crawling on the ground with their clothing completely ragged, and they're giggling and moaning. There's some real weird shit that's happening.
Yeah, it's beyond hedonism. And I feel like we get to it here in a minute with them reveling in the inner columns, running, basically crawling around, panting, moaning, and weird stuff. It's this weird animalistic emotional state. It's very strange.
And there's tables of food here too, but they're all rotted, which, okay.
Yeah, that bit just makes me think, it's okay, the closer you get to the middle, the more just gets pulled out of you. So, the food gets rotten and the people are more insane.
Yeah.
It does feel that way. And so she wants to continue pushing forward. It's getting tougher, it seems like. The voices in her head, compounding almost. It's, let's see, she steps into a moonlit square colored violet from Salas above. So that's the violet moon. And something has enveloped the entire control building in the middle. Like the Midnight Mother had enveloped the gemstone pillar beneath Urithiru. A dark mass pulsed and throbbed with black veins as thick as a man's leg that go into the ground from it nearby. A heart with an irregular beat. Go in, join the revel. Shallan, listen to me. And she's like, wait, what? That last voice was different. but I've heard it before. I'm not your enemy, but the heart is a trap. Take caution. And then the drums start. So this is happening at the same moment that that last Kaladin section was. And she thinks, this is all starting to overwhelm me. I've done what I was here to do. I scouted the area. It's time to get out. And instead of going back to like blend back in and pretend to be Veil and, leave, she just throws herself off of the edge of the platform. And that's the end of that.
Yeah, that's what she said she was going to do.
She did say that she could do that in, if she needed to. Then we have Echoes of Thunder. Our revelation is fueled by the theory that the Unmade can perhaps be captured like ordinary Spren. It would require a special prison, and militia.
Okay, two things I don't understand. So Spren can be captured. I don't know that we've seen the Parshmen do it, but those are not maybe the same kind of Spren.
No, didn't we see back in the first book, was it Elhokar had like a Spren in a jar or a jewel, something on his desk?
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Didn't Elhokar had like a? This was the book before last. He had one of those animals, but like.
Oh yeah, one of the weird
dead
animals. Yeah.
I could have sworn at some point someone in the royalty had like a captive Spren on a desk or something. Unless I'm conflating a couple of things.
I do not recall offhand. But we have heard the name militia one time before.
Yeah,
I'm sure that nobody will remember this because it is.
I don't.
It is from an epigraph from the last book, and this is from the text of the in-universe book Words of Radiance. So it was in Words of Radiance, but also from Words of Radiance.
Oh, yeah.
So militia retired to his tent and resolved to destroy the Voidbringers upon the next day. But the knight did present a different stratagem related to the unique abilities of bondsmiths, and being harried, he could make no specific account of his process. It was related to the very nature of the heralds and their divine duties, an attribute the bondsmiths alone could address.
Okay, so we have to have Dalinar, sounds like, to be able to do something with the Void Spren.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Unless it's a different militia, that would be weird. It sounds very similar here, so.
Yeah, it would be strange if it was a different one.
But we start with Kaladin charging up the stairs. It's time to go and fight the Voidbringers. And they stop up for... Azur's like, damnation, these creatures. I'm missing something, like white on black. And then she looks at Kaladin. Just tell me, who are you? And he goes, who are you? And they don't have time to answer any of this. They both kind of have to mutually agree, we'll deal with this later. And the Voidbringers are flying in, and they've got their like pike blocks set up to try to get them, but it's hard to fight a rapidly flying enemy from a stationary position. And so guys are getting like tossed off the wall. At least one person gets like sent up into the sky and falls back down. It's not great for our guys, basically. And then one of the guys gets close to Kaladin, and Kaladin like tries to confront him, and he gets lashed by the enemy. So I guess the lashings that these guys do don't draw screamers. They must be different in some way from what Kaladin does.
Maybe like the screamers are drawn specifically to use of Stormlight, not Void Light.
Oh yeah, if they're using Void Light, that's a good point. Yeah. And so the thing lashes him kind of, I guess, horizontally along the wall, so that he's falling along the wall towards other groups of guys, so he'll knock them over as he falls. And he's like, but this thing has made a mistake. The sky is mine.
I'm not lashed in here with you. You're lashed in here with me.
Exactly, yeah. And so he manages to fall, like, he maneuvers himself, so he falls. He doesn't hit anybody. Not only that, when he comes to like one of the tower things along the wall, he falls through the door and into the room, and he manages to like grab hold and get himself into the room. And then that Voidbringer like chases him and comes in as well, and Kaladin like jumps him, and they fall back outside, and they start just tumbling through the air. These two like grappled with each other, and it's actually, I feel like this would once again be a very cool visual. It's I feel like this actually gets a little confusing in the description eventually, because they really are just like falling through the air in various directions, and it's a little hard for me to follow, but I'm not sure you need to follow every detail. But he turns Syl into a knife, and shoves it in this dude's stomach. And then he sees like the guy's eyes glowing red. And he's like, oh, these guys can heal. Like radiance, that void light sustains them. And then Syl speaks into his head and tells him, I can sense something about its power. Cut upward towards the heart. And all the while, they're flying through the air and falling like, it says a double or triple lash now as they're screaming towards the wall below. And the knife that he puts in, he moves it upward and it strikes something brittle and hard. And then the red eyes wink out and the thing is dead. So there's something in there that you can hit and then they go down.
He cracked the gem heart containing void spren or whatever, the fused. What?
Yeah, maybe. That would make sense. And he maneuvers around so that the thing is underneath him as they're falling, and he lands on top of the corpse. And he still takes a lot of damage, but he gets enough stormlight to heal himself. It says re-knitting bones, repairing organs, just little stuff like that.
Mm.
And the other fused break off the attack and start to leave. And he's like, holy crap. Like, look what these guys can do. We are screwed. We're not anywhere near ready to fight these people. And Noro's squad comes up, his buddies, and they're all just standing around like, holy crap. You killed one, Beard says. Like, you actually killed one. He's like, yeah, how many of you guys killed? And everyone's just staring. He's like, I mean, since this started over the last several weeks, how many has the wall guard managed to take down? And they just keep staring.
Yeah, about that.
So when you say take down, do you mean like we saw them go down somewhere? Because, I mean...
I tried to tackle one.
Noro says, Azure drove some off. They're afraid of her shard blade, but Voidbringer's killed? Yeah, this would be the first one. And he's like, oh, this is even worse than I thought. We are so fucked. And not only that, you can't permanently kill one of the fused, because they'll just come back later unless, the heralds trap them back in on that other planet. And he goes, I need to talk to Azure. Noro, report. He really just cannot stop himself from being in charge.
But Noro is just straight up, just like, yeah, you just killed one of them. Yep, you're in charge now.
I mean, yeah, who's going to fight him for it, right? And when he gets to Azure, they look out, and Azure's like, take a look at that. That is the entire army out there. Somehow they managed to march here through that storm earlier today. They're going to attack soon. Sometime before the next high storm. And Kaladin's like, Azure, I gotta know, how are you feeding the army? And Beard's like, dude, he killed one of them. He grabbed it on like he was mounting a storming horse and rode the bastard through the sky. And Azure just stares at him. And eventually Kaladin's like, fine. And he summons Syl as a shard blade. It says, Noro's eyes bulged, Ved nearly fainted, and Beard just grinned. I'm here on orders from King Elokar and the Blackthorn. It's my job to save Kholinar. And so she smiles and is like, okay, come with me. I'm sure glad they sent one guy to save the city.
Well, I like the choice of words there. It's like, I'm here on orders from King Elokar. Not going to give the game away that he's here just in case, something else were to go wrong.
Yep. I noticed that too. I'm like, yeah, probably. Let's keep that one in our back pocket.
Let's just hedge our bets for the moment.
Oblivious is the next chapter, and it starts, Ba-Ado Mishram has somehow connected, capital C, with the Parsh people as Odian once did. She provides void light and facilitates forms of power. Our strike team is going to imprison her.
So that's got to be another unmade that we haven't heard of yet.
Yeah, given that the previous one was, we think an unmade can be captured like an ordinary spren, and this one is like, we're going to capture this Ba-Ado Mishram. It does seem like, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, as bad as the other ones are, straight up empowering the Voidbringers, yeah, that seems like one you want to look down pretty early.
Yeah, right? Yeah, if they don't even need Odium to give them like these forms of power, yeah, no, we want to stop that for sure. And we get to Grund, or Shallan shows up to give Grund some food, only he's not in his normal spot. And she looks around and she's like, hey, Grund? And he stumbles into the room, it says, and she says, what's wrong? And he says, nothing. Thought you were someone else. And she's like, I've just got a little bit of food for you today, but here you go. And he wants to know what he can do. Like, what else do you need? What can I do for you next? And she's thinking, there's something weird here. This is too desperate. What is going on here? Is everything all right, Grund? And he's like, yeah, sure, everything's great, unless it shouldn't be. And she's like, well, I'll come by in a few days. And Pattern consents, like he's lying. What is he lying about? She's like, I don't know why or what, but yeah, he is. And she kind of like does a little light weaving, makes herself look a little different, and sneaks around and comes back. And she hears a voice being like, told you we shouldn't have given her that book. This is the best you could do, pathetic. And she hears a grunt. And she's like, oh, these guys, somebody's like beating up Grund. And she looks in and there's these guys, some thugs eating the food that she brought. And Grund is laying in the corner, whimpering and holding his stomach. And so she immediately goes in. Like she's pissed. Best of my friends. And they run for it. But on the way out, one of them bashes Grund's head with a cudgel. And there's a sickening crunch, it says. And she starts calling for help. But yeah, this kid is very badly wounded. By the end of the scene, he will be dead. So there's not much she can do.
So her powers don't let her heal other people, I guess?
Nope.
That's a bummer.
Only two of the Radiant Orders have regrowth to heal other people.
That's a Renner and one and someone else.
Lift. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Doi.
Truth Watchers and Edge Dancers.
Okay.
And she's like, Grund, it'll be okay. And he's like, I hate you. And she's like, hey, no, it's me, man. They're gone. Like, no, I hate you. Why couldn't you leave me alone? They killed all of my friends. She's like, what are you talking about? I brought you food. And he's like, you drew them. Strutting around, throwing food. You thought people wouldn't notice? Had to sit here all day and wait for you. My whole life was waiting for you. If I wasn't here when you came, or if I tried to hide the food, they beat me. She's like, for how long? He's like, since the first day. Storming woman, hate you. The others, we all hate you. And she's like, holy crap, the others too? And he's gone. And she has to go and find these other people she's been delivering food to. Like the seamstress with all her kids. And the seamstress, Murray, she's getting ready to leave. And Shallan's like, wait, you already know about Grund? It's like, what? No. All I know is the Grips are angry about something, and I'm not taking chances. And Vale's like, the Grips? How oblivious are you, woman? The gang in charge of this area. They have people watching us until to see when you next arrived. And I heard them say my name, and then they took off, and now I'm leaving. And she's like, they took the food I gave you, didn't they? They killed Grund. And Mary's like, poor kid, better you than he. We always had to sit here waiting for you and your storming sack of goodies. And she's like, I'm sorry. And then the woman leaves. And I believe that's the last we see of Shallan here, which it's not a cheery end. Yeah.
Although it's like the interesting note, it's like, oh, these guys, they made a point of giving her the book, presumably the book about the Unmade. So there's a fucking gang of street toughs get a hold of that.
Yeah, I was like, they go beat up some bookseller and take the book. I don't know.
But like, how do they know to give it to her?
Well, I think she like told her contacts that she was looking for this, and that's how she got the book.
Okay.
I guess through Grund. So yeah, that's Did it mention that? Because he's like, hey, what else do you need? And so I think that was kind of the implication there, was that he'd helped her with that particular need.
Right.
So
yeah. Okay.
Now I want to go back. Did it actually mention that he gave her the book? I don't even recall.
It's like when the Grips are beating Grund up, like one of them says, "Oh, I told you we shouldn't have given her the book."
Yeah, I meant like, was there another part before that where she explained it, or is that the only way that we know that?
Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah, no, it doesn't mention it right there. Maybe it mentioned when she brought up the fact that she had the book. I don't know. Doesn't really matter, I guess.
Yeah.
Our last chapter was Ethi and her sister, which I liked Joe's theory last time that Ethi was Evie's sister, but no.
No, wasn't that at all.
Our last epigraph continues, presumably along that same lines, the same story. We are uncertain the effect this will have on the Parsh. At the very least, it should deny them forms of power. Malishi is confident, but Nay's daughter Kuzodo warns of unintended side effects.
Hey, a Shin Radiant.
Yeah. I don't think we've seen any of those. I guess unless you count Seth. I guess he's kind of one now.
He's a unique case.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. We start with Kaladin just standing in the common room, and he goes, my name's Kaladin. I'm just going to lay everything out there. They already knew your name, though. Or no, I guess they've just been calling him Cal. Maybe he didn't tell them his whole name. Because Azure goes, ooh, Kaladin, a regal name. What's your house? And he says, they just call me Stormblessed. If you need proof that I'm here on orders from the king, it can be arranged. Which, yeah, we know that can be arranged. And she's like, let's just pretend, for the sake of conversation, I believe you. What do you want? And he wants to know how you're using a soulcaster without the screamers finding out. She's like, okay, fine. Opens up the storage room in the back of the barracks, and it turns a little thing, and there's a secret door back here.
Secret tunnel.
Through the mountain.
Had to.
It's funny, my kids were singing that the other day, and I've never actually been able to get them to sit down and watch Avatar. So I'm like, do you know that from hearing me do it? Or was it like in some YouTube video you watched? Because I've totally done that before. So they see that like this tunnel that is back here goes straight into one of the wind blades, these giant stone formations that kind of are unique to Kholinar. And Beard's like, you cut a tunnel in one of the wind blades? And she's like, oh no, this has been here longer than any of us has been alive. And so they start to follow her down this secret stairwell. And Beard's like, oh, so Kaladin, you know the Blackthorn, huh? Better than most, Kaladin says, which I guess is probably true. That's yes, would have done, but so you know. And Kaladin's like, that the two of you never went swimming together in the Pure Lake. Yeah, I think everyone kind of suspected that.
I want to hear that story though.
And he's like, yeah, I mean, I figured you'd never believe the truth because it was actually the Azish Emperor that I went swimming.
Oh my god, this guy.
Just let it go, Beard. It's fine.
Yeah, just like, dude.
Just admit that you were pulling it out your ass.
I guess Kaladin hasn't met the Azish Emperor, the new one, so he can't have that same. If Dalinar were here, maybe he'd be like, I've talked to that guy. You didn't go swimming with him. So they go down a ladder, and there's a room down here, and there's two women sitting in the room. Or there's one woman, maybe the other one. Anyway, doesn't matter. There's a female Ardent here, and you can tell that she's been using a soulcaster for a while because she's got like vines growing under her skin, peeking out around her eyes, which is deeply disturbing. But we've seen how these things happen.
We had people like turning to rock before. I don't think we had. So yeah, we got plants under our skin. That's a different level of fucked.
Yeah, we had rock and smoke before. But yeah,
that's right. The smoky person.
Like little vines coming out around your eyes. That's
yeah. Rock and smoke are not alive. Vines are. So ugh.
Yeah. And we find out that this lady and her sister take it in shifts to turn rocks into food. Like Azure comes down here and cuts out big chunks of stone with her shard blade, and they turn it into grain. And how do we do it without the screamers coming? Well, the room is covered in thin plates of metal. And it says, yeah, she says, soon after the strangeness at the palace, a man pulled up in a chul cart right in front of our barracks with a bunch of sheets of this. He was an odd fellow. I've had interactions with him before. So she already knew Hoyd.
But like, that's all the description Kaladin needs to know. That's fucking Hoyd, isn't it?
Somebody weird showed up and did some weird shit. It's Hoyd, wasn't it? I mean, he knows he's in town, so maybe that's a little bit of a hint.
Does
also. But yeah, I'm pretty sure I think Shallan told them about what he said. Yeah, in fact, she said earlier when they met that like Wit had already confirmed who one of the unnamed was.
That's right. I for some reason I thought Shallan had kept her meeting with Wit. Like, you know, she got the information, but not necessarily from him. So I misread that. My bad.
I feel that Kaladin should be going off to find him. Like, hey, tell me another story.
Sigzil needs you.
He's not doing great, man. Let me tell you about the story that he tried to tell me.
Oh, fucking disaster.
So, once the walls are all covered with this, you can use the Soulcaster, or I guess any other Fabrial. Unfortunately, the metal also blocks span reeds from like connecting to other span reeds, so we can't use this to talk to anybody else. And Calvin's like, okay, that makes sense. Not helpful for my purposes. Not going to help me like hide me using my powers. So, okay. Unless we make him a suit of armor out of aluminum foil, it's not going to help. And Azure's like, all right, turnabout is fair play. I showed you mine. How is one man supposed to save this city? And he says, so there's a device in Kholinar that I can activate that will bring a whole army right into the middle of the city. And Azure's like, wait, seriously? Let's do that then. Why are we not doing that now? And Calvin's like, yeah, okay. So there's a little problem. And that's the end of the chapter. And the end of our section for this week. So I feel like it feels like things are speeding up, right? The cuts in that one chapter for contribute to that, but like things are ramping.
Yeah, things are about to come to a head.
So for next time, we are reading 3 chapters. Let me get you those titles real quick before we move into predicaments. So 82, 83, and 84 are our next 3 chapters. By the way, this part 3 ends at chapter 87. So we're almost to the end of the part. Yeah. But chapter 82 is called The Girl Who Stood Up. Chapter 83 is called Crimson to the Break. I'm sorry, no, Crimson to Break, not the break. And chapter 84 is called The One You Can Save. So, predicaments. Use the chapters or don't as you see fit. What do you think is going to happen? Where are we going? What's happening here?
Well, the girl who stood up, that was the story Shallan told to Patton back in Uthira, wasn't it?
I believe that was the girl who looked up.
Oh, okay. All right, I don't know then. Yeah, look, I don't really know what's gonna happen here. I feel like the part of me that says logic is okay. They need to activate the platform, so Azure and her crew, they're gonna have to like abandon the walls to try and take the platform so they can get the armies through, and the Voidbringers are gonna, like Azure's already said, like they're gonna take that opportunity to, like they were going to attack in the next few days anyway, so they're probably going to take that opportunity once the wall guard has run off. So they're just going to say, look, it's a sacrifice we have to make. They're about to attack. We don't have the numbers. We have to gain an advantage. So if the entire wall guard converges on the platform, maybe they can drive the revelers off in time for Kaladin to open the damn thing up and then let the armies through. I don't think that's going to work out well for anyone, but I have no idea what form this is going to take. I don't really know. I don't know what Shallan's story is going to do at this point. I don't know what Adolin's story is going to do at this point. But yeah, let's just see. The One You Can Save makes me think that battle is coming up very soon. So yeah, that's all I got.
Yeah, I can see how The One You Can Save implies that there could be a battle happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like someone's not going to make it out, but whether it's one of our characters that we're really attached to, or whether it's someone like Vatha who we're kind of attached to, but he's not exactly one of the mainstays. But yeah, it's like something's about to go. Someone's not making it out of this.
It could even be, why Elokar is here is to save his wife and kid in addition to the city. So we've still got that dangling out there. Like, are we going to be able to save them?
I've forgotten about that. Yeah, maybe he's just like, I need to go to the palace and save my wife and son. Kaladin's like, we can't do that. We don't have the force necessary to do that. We need to get the army here.
But the Oathgate platform is attached to the palace. So if we can get the army here, they're right there. That could be good.
That's true. Yeah, I don't know. I'll just... What is it you've said before? Like the read and find out?
Read and find out. Yep, that's Brandon's... I guess it started with Robert Jordan. But yeah, that's one of Brandon's favorite lines.
I know, like, there's a comic book author I really like called Jonathan Hickman. His thing is watch me write.
I like that.
I think it's watch me write. I'll have to check that.
That sounds more like active than read and find out. It's like, you watch me.
Yeah. Well, he did a thing when he was writing X-Men. He's like, these are my 5 favorite mutants. And one of them he listed was Mr. Sinister. And everyone's like, hang on, Jonathan, Mr. Sinister's not a mutant. And he's just gone, watch me write.
He was now.
I think that's basically what happened, yeah.
Nice.
But it worked.
Hey. I mean, honestly, Mr. Sinister is usually pretty fun.
Yep.
I love we may have discussed it before, but somebody may have been on the podcast pointed out, it's like Mr. Sinister is like rocking a mist cloak, and it's
oh yeah, we said that way back in the early days.
Yeah, and I just remember being like, oh my gosh, I've never picked up on that before.
Yeah. I feel like that first chapter, well, look, I'm just gonna be upfront about it. When I read my chapters, I scroll to the next page sometimes, and I saw that it is a pattern on the front of the chapter, so I'm pretty sure it's a Shallan base chapter. So
Okay.
apologize, but that happens sometimes when I scroll too quick. I read it on my phone, and sometimes like I can't tell it's the end of the chapter until I go to the next page.
Right. Yeah, if it goes right up to the bottom of the page before the next chapter starts, you don't know that the chapter's about to end. I have the same thing.
Right. Anyway, so yeah, I'm pretty sure that's a Shallan chapter. I kind of agree with Dak. Like, we're getting close to this battle. Somebody's gonna die. Don't know who it is. I still believe that Moash is going to be playing a role in this as well. I know we've kind of gotten away from Moash.
Forgot about
Yeah,
him. It's been that long since we've seen him. I forgot he was involved. Yes.
We all kind of forgot about him. You've got a point, yeah.
I think he's going to be involved still. We've gotten away from his point of view, which, hey, I'm not mad about. But yeah, he's going to show up and he's going to be a part of it, I think, unfortunately. So what part that plays, I don't know. You know, maybe along the lines of what Dax said, if he's like, well, you killed my family, so I'm going to kill your family. You know, if he's like, oh, I'm not even going to kill you anymore, I'm just going to kill your family. You know, that's a possibility. So, yeah, we're headed for this battle. What's going on with the Unmade? How are they going to fight the Unmade? Gosh, I really have no idea. There's just so little information on them right now that it's like, it's mind-boggling. Because, like I said, like if the original Radiance had trouble with them, like what does that mean for our peoples? So, yeah, it's a difficult one. I don't know what else really, you know, I don't really know what other direction we're going to go in here at this point. We're kind of just in this anticipatory battle. I really want to know more about Azure. I'll take this time to say there's two times that her cloak has been mentioned that I've noticed. And Kaladin's kind of like, oh, she's holding her cloak in a weird way. What's up with that? And it just makes the only thing that it makes me think of is Warbreaker. So I'm predicting that she's from that planet. I don't know who she is. We know Vasher's here, so we know it's possible for people from that planet to get here, but I don't know. It's somebody who would have the use of breath, because anytime I think of like the way they use breath and fabric, that's what it made me think of when I saw, or when I read, like he was looking at her cloak and she's had it across her arm, draped strangely. Because if she's in the middle of the battle and she's using her cloak in some way, I feel like that's a very Warbreaker thing to do that we saw people do. So
yeah, we did see for sure Vasher, like, I mean, he would wear his cloak when he used it generally, but you're right that he totally did stuff with it, yeah.
So that's what it makes me think of, which would mean they can use breaths on this planet, which I know it's just like another form of investiture. But yeah, that's kind of where my thinking is going with that, is that this person's got to be from Warbreaker.
You reckon she's returned?
I don't know about that part, but it wasn't just the return that could use breaths, right?
No, like other people could use it as well, but I was like, yeah, I just don't know. Because I think I picked Vasher early on because he was able to use a lot of the color metaphors. I don't know if Azure has done that.
That's true. Of course, the color stuff's flashy, right? So maybe they're trying to keep a low profile. They don't want to do flashy stuff.
That works too. I don't remember anyone from Warbreaker having orange eyes, but that could be if like we speculated before. We don't know what happens when someone from one planet uses someone else's magic system. So if someone from Nalthus came over and picked up a shard blade, what would that do to their eyes? Like,
it would fit in well with and I also think my theory fits in well with the blade, right? Because we've said it's got to be a shard blade, honor blade, or a blade like Nightblood, right? So if this person is from the Warbreaker world and they somehow made a blade not like Nightblood but similar, you know, they would have to use a lot of breaths to do that, but they would have the potential and already the potential knowledge to do so. In which case, maybe this person's tied to Vasher in some way.
And I didn't.
Okay, hang on. So at the end of Warbreaker, there was like the person who actually so it was Vasher's wife who made the sword, but her brother was still out there. Is that right?
Well, Denth was her brother.
No,
by the end of Warbreaker, he was dead. But
there were the other two people, because it was the five of them, and the other two we never met. Like maybe she could be one of those two people.
Well, okay, no, hold on. there's Vasher. Shashara was his wife. She's dead. Denth was her brother. He's also dead. Then there was Arsteel and Yessteel. But
Oh,
Arsteel was
Claude.
Was Claude.
That's right.
So really, there's just Yessteel left alive. And at the end of the book, he's like, "Hey, I heard like this old buddy of mine has come up with this new Ichor alcohol formula to make better." I almost said undead. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The
zombies
things.
that they use.
Lifeless. That's what they were called. The lifeless.
Yeah.
And so they were going to go and check that out. So yeah, there's one of them still out there.
Okay.
And I forgot to mention when we got there, we actually saw Azure's Shardblade unsheathed for the first time. I think here it's a long silvery blade. We're told. So
Yeah.
Sorry, I kind of took over your spot there, Joe. I'm sorry.
No. I mean, you're helping me try to fill in gaps because like that. Really my only theory building off of this is the cloak thing, because I feel like again Brandon's pointing something out to us, right? He's mentioning it. He's saying, "Hey, look at this thing that Kaladin is noticing," right? Because otherwise, why write it?
Yeah.
yeah.
And then B, the Vasher stuff. Like Vasher's there, we know he's there, we know. So then we in turn know that people from that planet can be here. We know from what Data has told us in the background of the lore that Vasher saw shard blades and said, "Hey, that'd be cool to have a blade like that." And then that's how kind of Nightblood became a thing. So I feel like it's not a stretch or pulling from nowhere to think maybe this person is also from there.
Part of me wants to go. It's like, why would there be such a concentration of people specifically from Nalthus in this book?
Mm-hmm.
Like, why does that planet keep coming into Roshar? But then the other part of me thinks, well, because of Nightblood and Vasher and Warbreaker is almost like a kind of a pseudo prequel to Stormlight in that sense. So maybe it makes sense for Nalthus to be like the planet that visits Roshar the most.
Yeah, well, and we potentially don't know, right? Because I think we've been told by Data, if I'm not wrong, that like Roshar, a lot of planets have kind of converged with it, right? Because we've also got a possible southern Scadrian.
Yeah. And we had Kelsey's mates at the Pure Lake in the first book, but like that was just like a blink and you miss it. We haven't seen them again.
That's true.
Then. Whereas Vasher has shown up many times. He's just kind of hanging around, and Nightblood we know is in the hands of a major character, even if we haven't seen him this book.
Right.
I feel like there's an implication, even if it hasn't been outright stated yet, that one of the reasons Vasher is here is he may have figured out. Because you got to remember, as a returned, he needs a breath every week or he will die. Like it gets consumed. And there's an implication that he may have found a way to use the readily available investiture flying around in the storms on Roshar to substitute for that.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. I mean, that would make sense. Like, or even if he could just absorb a soul gem or soul gem, whatever. What are they called?
I'm not sure what just like
an infused
Stormlight
gem
out of a gem.
Yes, an infused gem. Yeah, soul gem. That's like an Elder Scrolls thing.
I was gonna say that. Like, oh, we're in Skyrim now.
Yeah, no. Infused gem. Like if he could just absorb one of those, maybe that's like a breath.
Yeah, I wonder if there's like a measurement of investiture that would be equal to.
But again, that tracks because like if Vasher was smart enough in like, I guess science is probably the best way to put it, like that he figured out how to infuse a sword with breath and make it into Nightblood. It makes sense that when he comes to this planet, he would figure out a method to, substitute investiture because he's already played with investiture and shit like that before. So it tracks that he would be the one to know how to do that. I
also, just because you guys brought it up during this bit of theory and may have missed it during the chapter, I don't want to throw gasoline on anybody's fire, but there is a moment in this section that we read where Azure uses colors to make a point.
Really?
Yeah, when they run up to the top of the wall and they see the creatures flying in, she says, "Damnation, these creatures. I'm missing something, like white on black."
Okay, well, I feel like Data didn't confirm it, but he confirmed it. I feel like this person's got to be from that planet.
It's like, not to confirm or deny anything, but here's something related to what you're talking about that we read.
I mean, you guys were like, I don't know if we've ever seen her use colors, and I was like, we did see her use colors.
Yeah.
I don't.
No, fair point.
Yeah, just as a turn of phrase, but yes, we saw it.
Yeah, but I mean, that's what clued me into Vasher initially. He's like, why does he keep bringing these up?
Oh, but okay, interesting theories. Yeah, and we didn't talk about it before, but when we were talking about like what could this sword be, and you had your three theories, like it's a radiant blade or an honor blade or something like Nightblood. Of those three, Nightblood is the only one we've seen that has a sheath, and then hers is always sheathed, which throws Kaladin and I feel like everybody off. Like, who puts a shard blade in a sheath? That's so weird. So either, and I mean, it could still be a shard blade that she puts in a sheath, but it might indicate that like she doesn't think about these blades the same way everybody else does. She thinks, oh, blades go in sheaths. I don't know, but yeah, it's that's a point that gets brought up here because it's like, oh, we see her shard blade unsheathed, but it was one of the things that really stuck out the first time we saw her. Was like, why is it in a sheath? That's strange. You never see anybody do that with a shard blade. Anyway, let's move on. We got some emails. We got several emails. Let's hit a few of those. That one had the question specifically for Jaymee again. Let's not do that.
Next time
On Dragon Ball Z. All right, let's do this one from Bell. It says, hello, D's and J's. Greetings from the end of Warbreaker. My email's a little long, so y'all can just call me Bell. I've been listening to the podcast on a few platforms, and I finally subscribed on Patreon. I left a review on Spotify, and I've attached both. Oh, sure enough, there's a review attached here, so get ready for that, I guess, Joe.
Yep.
So that as a true Metalborn, I can receive both powers at the same time. Yeah, sorry about that. This person probably got their... Wait, when did this email come in? The end of August is when we got this email. So probably you already got your power since we don't have any new... Yeah. Sorry about that. Anyway. I think this is that person who joined as a Shard of Adonalsium a couple weeks ago.
Nice. Yeah, then they've got their powers for sure.
Yeah. First, before nerding, I want to comment on the spoiler discussion at the end of Warbreaker. I found Mistborn in high school, like 10 years ago, and I've been trying to find the best way to start exploring the greater Cosmere. I naturally came across The Way of Kings before anything else. I started reading Stormlight Archive then. In Oathbringer, I found your podcast, and I forcibly slowed my Stormlight Archive so I can listen to the audiobooks of everything else you've covered. So mostly, I've been listening to almost all the books y'all have alongside, prior to main Mistborn and, of course, Stormlight Archive. Naturally, I have to say the podcast is a phenomenal guide for a new world hopper. I have thoughts that I would like to pose, as I've read only a little more than y'all have at this point. First, Kalad's Phantoms. I would bet dollars to donuts they are underwater. You would lose that bet, my friend. I'm sorry. They were the statues all along. Second, Nightblood. What would happen if you dropped Nightblood into a perpendicularity, like Autonomy's pool in the Sixth of Dusk, or the Well of Ascension?
Some things man was not meant to know.
Yeah. I mean, he would travel somewhere.
You just see the sword spinning. He's just spinning through the coggy realm going, whee!
Yeah. Woohoo! Hey, where am I?
Chris just looks up and goes, what the fuck was that?
This is a good question. Yeah, I mean, I don't know that we have any way to say. Nightblood likes to suck up investiture. At least he did breaths. So Nightblood likes to suck up breaths. That might work with other stuff like in a perpendicularity.
That would be crazy. It's like someone's trying to get through a perpendicularity. It's like, why is the other end sealed? And like where there was like the Well of Ascension is just the sword sitting there.
That would be hilarious. Yeah. Why is there a sword in here? Okay, well. And then Nightblood's like, would you like to destroy some evil today? Vin loves destroying evil.
Yeah, but she's kind of dead.
Well, I mean, not at the end of Well of Ascension.
Yeah, point.
The third one says Nightblood Part 2 is Nightblood on par with, but I think that Bell has forgotten to finish this one because I don't see the rest of the question. So we'll skip to the fourth one. I want to know what would happen if an Elantrian also became a return somehow. Huh.
That sounds complicated.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really get how that would work anyway.
We do know that basically, and endowment picks who becomes returned. She gives them the opportunity when she feels like it to come back and do something. We learned that, I think, from one of Chris's things, where she's like, basically, it's the shard's choice who gets all this investiture magic and becomes a returned. So I guess theoretically, if an Elantrian went there, maybe they could get chosen. I don't know what that would do to their powers.
Oh, would it though? Because like from the letter in Oathbringer that Endowment sent to Hoyd, Endowment was talking smack about the ones from Cell. Just like, man, fuck those guys. They deserve to get beat up by Odium. So it doesn't sound like has a high opinion of those two, and presumably by extension anyone associated with their power.
We also know that Elantrians get weaker the further you take them away from the country that they're from, because somehow
they're tied to the land or whatever.
Yeah. I think because the way they draw the Aeons, the land is always incorporated into there, so they might not have much on Malthus to begin with.
Although, when what's-her-name became basically an Elantrian, she could use power.
Yeah, and she drew something that I think Mersai even said, like, "Oh, hey, that looks kind of like where we are." Like,
yeah. So somehow she used the investiture to make an Elantrian connection to the land in Scadrial, I guess.
Maybe, yeah. That does. Yeah. I feel like that was the implication, and I don't know if it's like a programming language thing where she just like is like, use this land and point at that, or whatever. I don't know. We don't know enough about how Aeons work exactly, and the door to probably intelligently speculate. But also now have one massive question: what would the group's thoughts on Kelsier somehow becoming the shard Survival, which is not a shard we've ever heard of, but it does seem like if Kelsier were going to be one, that might be one that he would want to be
the shard of Survival.
I don't know. I feel like Kelsier at this point, I don't know that he would want to be a shard.
Yeah, I don't think he would. Also, like, survival is a thing that you do. All the shard names and stuff like that are an attribute that you have, not that you perform. So I don't know if survival would be a valid one.
Interesting point, yeah.
Oh, actually, no, hold on, sorry. No, preservation and ruin, those are things that you do.
You do ruin or preserve things, yep.
Okay, disregard what I just said.
I was thinking endowment, I guess, is also like a thing that you do.
I mean, that can be a thing that you have. You can have an endowment.
Well, that's true too.
But yeah, no, like ruin and preservation, you can't really, you can't adjective those.
You're so ruin.
I'm such a ruinous person.
Maybe.
And this person's last thought is Kelsier as Windrunner, or is that just our beloved bridge boy? I don't know that Kelsier fits the Windrunner ideals of I will protect those who can't protect themselves.
He absolutely does not. We'll protect those I don't like, even if it's right. I don't see that being a Kelsier thing.
No, he definitely liked to beat up those nobility real good.
Yep.
When we take at the end of this book, I've already said we're going to take the quiz and everybody's going to figure out what radiant order they are. There's some interesting details on each radiant order that, when you get yours, it'll give, because a lot of them, like, we know the Windrunners and at least the first couple of oaths pretty well, and we understand the Light Weavers and kind of what they're going for because of Kaladin and Shallan. But a lot of them, we don't have a good handle on like what sort of stuff they focus on. So that'll be some information that we get when we start taking that quiz and stuff. And at that point, maybe it'll be fun to be like, hey, let's look at some other characters in the Cosmere and think like, which one of these do we think they'd fit in?
Oh yeah,
we can make a whole episode out of this. That could be fun.
Yeah. Also, just as like a side note to that as well, I don't think Kelsier would need to be a Windrunner because he pretty much can do similar-ish things. Like Windrunners lash themselves to the sky, while Kelsier will just push off whatever metal's below him. He's good.
True. Yeah.
You don't need the lash to fly.
More limited for sure than what the Windrunners can do, but he can, when you're real skilled with it, yeah, you can do some cool stuff.
Yeah, and that was his thing, like pushing and pulling, like that. He was a fucking ace at that.
Indeed. So, now you get me thinking like Kelsier versus a Windrunner, who wins? I feel like Radiants can heal really well if they have Stormlight, so that's not maybe a fair matchup. But
yeah.
Wasing to the storming time of next, Colo from Bell. Thank you for your email. There's some interesting, yeah. Oh, and there is attached a 5-star review on Spotify. So, Joe.
Thanks so much for that 5-star review. That was great, and I loved your email. Super awesome. Appreciate you writing in. We love to hear from people, theory crafting, and craft along with us. It's super fun. I'm going to give you a writer. You're going to be a writer. How about that?
Nice. Which I believe that you gave that person mental speed zinc previously, so that means that they can now compound mental speed.
Yeah, well, you'll think quicker than anyone else in the world, I guess.
Yeah, I was like, does that make you like a super genius? I don't know that it makes you smarter. You could just think really fast. I want to see somebody do that in the book now. I want to see what that would be like. All right, let's do one more short email, and then we will wrap. This one is from Joshua. It says, finally caught up. Hello, Sanderlanche crew. Unlike a lot of other people who email in and say they caught up, it has taken me almost a year and a half to do so. I heard about you guys from my brother, and I decided to start listening when I began another Cosmere reread in preparation for Wind and Truth. I kind of tried to read along with you at first, but then I started listening to the books like a good Vorin man while at work and swiftly left you behind. Regardless, I have thoroughly enjoyed hearing your takes and theories on the books and your insightful discussions. Also, I have read through most of the Dresden Files based on your promotion and praise of it and have enjoyed that as well. Thanks for what you do. Keep it up. Wasing to the time of next. Colo, PS Fasher. Haha, I'm still. Thank you, Joshua, for using my favorite of those. And they attached their 5-star review, and this one is not on Spotify, so they can actually write words. Wow. The best podcast ever. These guys are the best. Very funny, very insightful. If you love the Cosmere, you should give them a listen.
That's a great 5-star review. Appreciate you. You are a seeker.
Nice. Don't see that a lot. I like that one. It's Marsh, so you know.
Yeah, we love Marsh.
Fuck yeah, we do.
All right. So, thank you, emailers. Those were some fun emails. We appreciate you. If you want to leave a review like they did, you can send us a screenshot of where you've left your 5-star review, and Joe will jump you into the Misting crew. Where would you send that? Or any other emails? Our address is thesanderlanche@gmail.com. So send stuff there if you like. I want to let everyone know that we will be skipping next week. We are not able to get together to record then. So we'll be away for 1 week, but we should be back after that. So stay tuned in that. While on the subject, I will take this opportunity, since it should now be out and public for everybody, to mention that I am releasing the second podcast in what I think I'm going to try to call the Sanderlanche Podcast Network, because that opens the door for, if like Joe or Dak or Jaymee wanted to do their own podcast in the same vein, then they could join the network and have their own thing. But the new podcast is called Don't Gaslight Me, Jesus, a Dungeon Crawler Carl podcast. Basically the same thing we're doing here, only with a different group of people. Well, me and a different group of 3 people. And we're reading the Dungeon Crawler Carl series of books, which I read for the first, second, and third time this year and really enjoyed. So we're going to try that out and see how it goes. So it should, any place that you're listening to this, you should also be able to find that. The only connection that I haven't made as of this recording is YouTube. And once the second episode comes out this week, I'm going to make the YouTube connection as well. But I've only put it out on the Patreon and the Discord so far since the first episode came out. I wanted to have at least 2 out before I started kind of casting a wider net than that. But by the time you hear this episode, the second episode of that should be out. So if you are interested in reading the Dungeon Crawler Carl books, or if you've already read them and want to experience it along with some newbies, go check out Don't Gaslight Me, Jesus, a Dungeon Crawler Carl podcast, the second podcast in the Sanderlanche Podcast Network. Beyond that, you can find us on Patreon, where I am still releasing I feel like I've been saying this for a year at this point, my episodes of me reading through Wind and Truth for the first time, although we're rapidly approaching the end of that. And then we're going to start with Isles of the Emberdark, so that should be fun. Check out the Patreon if you want to see stuff like that. And if you join the Patreon, Joe will assign you a faring power as well. So that's available. We're also on Instagram and Blue Sky and Facebook, so you can find us in any of those places. Thanks to all of our patrons, all of our emailers, everybody on the Discord. If you want to join the Discord, there's a link at our website, www.thesanderlanche.com. Join the Discord. Thanks to everybody who just shows up every week and listens to us do this. We appreciate you guys. Remember, 3 chapters for next time as we approach the end of part 3. So if you're reading along, read 3 more chapters. That was 82 through 84. Music by Miracle of Sound. And Wasing to the Time of Next. Colo? P.S. Fasher. Haha, I'm still.
Corona's wide, supernovas die, fractured in the fateful fall of man. Feel the heart raging of a strength unseen. Unity will bring the upper hand. So look to the break of dawn.